Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm Charlotte Bergman, your host for Political Talk with Charlotte. Our show airs every Thursday at noon. Many of you have received the announcement. We're expecting our guest, Judge Joe Brown. Judge Joe Brown, many of you know him. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Um, he is our judge in Memphis. When we get when we come back, I'm going to get started with the introduction, and hopefully, he will be here on the set with me after our introduction. Okay, we are back, and I hope that you will go out and invite your friends to join us. So, let me give you a little bit of background about our judge, Judge Joe Brown. He was raised in Crenshaw, in Los Angeles, in LA, and he graduated as the valedictorian of his class from Dorsey High School. He earned a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of California, LA, and a Juris Doctorate from UCLA School of Law. And while attending the law school, he worked as a substitute teacher. He is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Judge Joe Brown, I have gotten to know him through the years, especially during the um, campaign seasons when I've run. I'll tell you what, here in Memphis, he is well loved. But when he ran for the city of Memphis, when he ran for the city of Memphis mayor position, the election commission itself refused to allow him to use his full name, well earned name, Judge Joe Brown. They insisted that he use the name Joe Brown. Well, most people in Memphis, because we had an elected official that wasn't doing his job, whose name was Joe Brown, most people thought that that's whose name was on the list of candidates, and they didn't vote for him. But anyway, Judge Joe Brown actually is the judge who was the one that Judge is not here. Judge Joe Brown was the one that actually was the judge during the after Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Judge actually set over the case against James Earl Ray. And we all know how that worked out. After that case was completed, Judge became a TV personality. So when he gets here, I'm going to bring him on, and hopefully he will get here soon. Before I get started, are you guys aware that this June 14th, this upcoming weekend, June 14th, Democrats are going crazy. They are considering calling this weekend No King's Day, and they're having a protest against our president. Thousands of protesters are set to take place across the United States in response to President Trump's policies. They don't like the fact that the president is cleaning up our country and ridding our country of criminals, rapists, murderers, various people of that nature. They don't care that these people would like to walk among us, the rapists, the criminals. Democrats are out protecting them. So, as a result of what President Trump is doing, thousands of Democrats are protesting. And look at this scenario. They are out protesting, wanting ICE to ignore the criminals among us. They want ICE to stop doing their job. So the Democrats are mobilizing on the 14th, on June the 14th, which coincides with President Trump's birthday, but it is actually a day that is the 250 250 years since the beginning of this nation. The No Kings National Day of Mobilization comes as protests against the U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement, which is ICE, have escalated after President Trump deployed the National Guard to the state. The California governor is just such a big liar. He is saying that the protests that are occurring in California only occurred after President Trump sent the National Guard. Initially, he sent 300 National Guardsmen with the anticipation of sending 2,000 National Guardsmen. And then he increased that number to 2,000 more for 4,000 National Guardsmen in California because it was warranted. Prior to him actually getting involved, in LA, the protesters were burning cars. They were attacking or trying to attack the ICE agents for doing their jobs. Hundreds of communities across New England have No King demonstrations scheduled for June 14th. And that is the same day that President Trump's administration has planned a pomp-filled military parade. And it also coincides with President Trump's birthday. June 14th is Flag Day, which this year marks the 250th anniversary of the founding of the U.S. Army. Correction. It marks the 200th anniversary of the founding of the U.S. Army. And to celebrate, the U.S. Army is holding a military parade that will cross in front of Trump as he's standing viewing them on the National Mall. They're anticipating 7,500 soldiers and 120 vehicles. It's also President Trump's 79th birthday. Now, I remember in 2016, President Trump was approximately 72 years of age. So he has been involved in politics for not that long, but he's making a significant difference. Guys, I'm going to try to check to see what is delaying our guest, Judge Joe Brown. So bear with me as I make this phone call. Hi, Judge.
Hello, ma'am.
Are you able to log in?
Well, I was, but when somebody calls, it knocks me off.
Okay, what would you want to try it again? You got people waiting to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get on. I've got bad reception around here.
Uh-oh.
So I will get on, but she just knocked me off. I was getting backstage.
I'm sorry. Let me hang up.
Okay.
Bye. Okay, Judge is heading this way. So anyway, what are you going to do this weekend? Are you going to watch the parade or are you going to watch protesters? Okay, I think Judge is on with us. Hooray! Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Judge, I see your ceiling. And if you come down a little bit more, we can see your face. Because people have, there's that face. Hi, Judge. You want to move your camera over? I don't think your volume, I think you're on mute. Judge, we're glad you're here. I think you're on mute. So what I'm going to do while Judge is adjusting his camera and adjusting his volume, I want you guys, were you aware that the 4th of July is coming up? And guess who is going to make your 4th of July sizzle? That's right. Judge Joe Brown has a company. He provides barbecue sauce.
Introducing Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor. With one taste of our premium blends of all-natural ingredients, herbs, and spices, you'll fall in love with meat all over again. Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce collection is made up of 2 zesty flavors, original and spicy. There's only one way to bring order back to barbecuing. Just add Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce and seasoning, and you be the judge.
All righty. You be the judge. Let me tell you something. Judge Joe Brown's barbecue is going to add zest to your meat. Do we have any sound yet, Judge?
Well, it's all showing good on my end.
You look perfect to me. Thank you so much, Judge. My audience is excited. We just finished listening to your commercial about your barbecue. We only have a few more weeks before the 4th of July appears. Judge, tell people about your barbecue and why they should buy your barbecue.
Well, it's been worked on for about 45 years. It's won some contests. It's pretty good stuff. One of Beyonce's personal chefs joined with me. We call him Chef Damon, Chef D. And he took my old time greasy recipe and he cleaned it up so you can sell it in Whole Foods and Sprouts and places like that. So it's qualified as health food, so you can eat it without guilt. So if you go on our website, you can find the barbecue sauce, mild and spicy. We have the seasoning and the rub, mild and spicy. We have chicken links, mild, spicy, smoked, raw. And we have beef links and we have Beyond Meat links, which are really good. And if you're a vegan, you can still get a chance to sample it with no guilt. And if you are a member of Amazon, it's cheaper to go through Amazon because the shipping's free and you get it in 2 days.
Well, that sounds great. Listen, you don't want to have just a regular old barbecue. You want your barbecue to sizzle, to taste good with Judge Joe Brown's barbecue. So try it, and you won't regret it. I read some of the comments that people were making about your barbecue, Judge, and I tell you what, they were talking about how great it is. And also there is a health factor to it. Is that correct?
Like I said, it's health food qualified now. So you can eat it or consume it with no guilt.
Woo. Well, you know, here in Memphis, we love us some barbecue. Memphis is known for its barbecue. So
yes, it is.
We're going to have some really good opportunities to really enjoy barbecue. Now, Judge, I brought you on, and one of my viewers who has been waiting for you commented, Lisa, said, your ad is brilliant. So I'm going to try to play it again before we end this show. But I have a few questions for you, Judge, and I hope you're prepared for them. We were talking about your bio. You attended school in LA. You know about LA. You walked those streets, some of those same streets where the riots are occurring. My first question
about in Los Angeles.
Yes, my first question is a curfew was implemented in LA where protests against President Trump's immigration crackdown is occurring. And it is picking up steam. We know that. The president has activated more than 4,000 National Guard members and 700 Marines under over the objection of, guess who? Lying Gavin Newsom. He got caught in a,
See, Gavin Newsom is in danger of doing penitentiary time. I have cited this, and I think I sent a copy of this part of the statutory scheme to you. It's called Title 8, Section 1324, and it makes what Newsom is doing, what Bass is doing, a felony.
Okay.
The aiding and abetting, giving advice, comfort, attempting to shield, induce people to come to what they call the sanctuary area for. So for the last 70 years, that's been against the law. I've actually tried some cases here as a defense lawyer years ago where my clients were charged with this very same statute. So I know what it does, and it's a shame that some people have just been scofflaws and said our people are in office so we can get away with it. The real scheme as to what's going on is this. Under the Constitution, the president is the chief diplomat for the country.
Exactly.
If the president, let's say Kamala Harris, had been the president, she could have entered a retroactive order declaring that as of January 2020, everyone that's in this group of illegals now could be retroactively considered to be a refugee and granted asylum status. The interesting thing about that is someone in that status doesn't have to take courses and take tests like an ordinary applicant for citizenship would.
Okay.
And they become a citizen automatically 5 years from the effective date of the asylum. So what happens is, guess when that is? That's this year. And that would mean that they would be eligible to vote without anything else for the midterm elections. And the Democratic Party was counting on bringing in, so far, the count ranges from 30 to a bit over 50 million people that would be stuffing the rolls in their favor. And that would ramp up the U.S. population to over 400 million. Now, 50 million, 30 million, that's as big as some countries have ever been. And for perspective, when the United States was in World War I, Germany wasn't that big.
Judge, you are exposing, you are allowing people to know what actually is really going on. I want to show I want to show what is happening in LA for right now. And would you mind commenting on it? Just give me a second and let me pull it up. Just 1 second. I pulled up the wrong one.
While you're doing, I could give a little side comment. This is nothing new, what's going on with calling in these few troops and nationalizing the National Guard. 1957, President Eisenhower called in the National Guard after Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus stood in the doorway of Little Rock High School and said, as long as I'm governor of the state of Arkansas, there will be no Negroes coming through these doors at Little Rock High School. The governor was defiant of American law. Well, Newsom is defiant of American law, Title 8, Section 1324, etc. He is determined not to obey it. He's given many public statements that he has no intention of obeying that law. So President Trump, like President Eisenhower, has no need to secure his permission. The Constitution requires that he restore order. 1965, August, Lyndon Baines Johnson nationalized the National Guard, and they sent 14,000 troops into LA. And I firsthand witnessed the M1917 Browning 30-06 caliber machine guns mounted in the back of Jeeps with live ammo belts, and what they did to restore order because LAPD couldn't keep order. And by the way, the chief of police for the Los Angeles Police Department has said things have gotten completely out of control.
He sure did.
The police department can't control stuff. So it's that. And then you look at Kent State and back in the 60s, in which case some students got killed because they did not follow the orders from the National Guard. It was a tragedy, but it was what it was. You have a whole half century in the first part of the 20th century where presidents had called out the National Guard or Army units to restore public order after labor strikes, especially in the rail and steel industry. So it's nothing new. It's a common practice in American history. And Newsom just is way offline, and it's false propaganda that they're trying to put out to get people sympathetic with choosing to disobey the law. So that
Holy cow, they're throwing bricks at the police.
This is our city, and this was Mexico. You can't kick us out of the land that was ours.
Judge.
But we did. We won the Mexican-American War. California.
Thank you, Judge, for saying that. That's mostly why they feel that they can stand and fight, because they feel like it's their land and we took it from them.
I mean, it's no big thing. It goes all the way back to ancient Rome. Rome started with one village on one of the 7 hills of Rome. Then that village conquered the other 6 villages, and they conquered southern Italy and then all of Italy and then most of the known world. So by the 3rd century AD, they had 180 million people in the Roman Empire who were citizens. And that's as many people as we had in the United States at the end of the 1960s when the NAM was going on. So these things have been going on for the longest time. You have a situation where there's a thing in international law called the right of conquest. And what happens is you lose, you get absorbed, and then after a while, you become part of it all. So we have French, Italian, German, Swiss, we have Scandinavians, we have English, and all of them have fought wars with the United States or been involved in a fracas. And they did not prevail, but now they're loyal citizens. So this woman may have had Mexican ancestry, but right now she hopefully is a citizen of the United States, in which case she owes loyalty to this country, because frankly, they'd likely shoot her if she did that down in Mexico right now.
You're exactly right, Judge. And what makes me so disappointed and disgusted is they will carry their Mexican flag while they are protesting around here. Then they would take an actual American flag, put it on the ground, spit on it, burn it, to show the disdain that they hold for the country that they are residing in.
Well, that's one of the aspects of free speech. It's distasteful, but it's part of the collateral damage for being a free place. Now, whether they should do anything about that or not, since that follows from a 1969 U.S. Supreme Court decision saying it's free speech, is one thing. But the problem is this blatant disrespect for the law, wherein somebody is saying, hey, we don't have to follow the law, where the governor is saying, we'll help you not follow the law. And what happens? You have gotten all of these people who have snuck across the border. You've got convicted murderers, rapists, sexual molesters, you've got drug dealers, you've got smugglers. It's like this thing with this gentleman that the big furor was being made over about. You need to bring him back. You didn't give him his due process when he got deported, and now they couldn't get him back any other way, but we do have an extradition agreement, so they agreed to extradite him for further prosecution. And what is that? We find out he's been indicted for murder, kidnapping, rape, sex trafficking, drug trafficking. And the homicide rate ramps up. There's one set of counts in there, but him being responsible for 15 people dying that he was trying to smuggle across the border. And it's been going on for almost 10 years. This is not a nice guy. Then
No,
he's innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But we do have probable cause. So here we have the little Namby-Poo types. Oh my God, they shouldn't do this. Look how horrible this country is. Yeah, but look how he tried to make this country a horrible replica of where he just escaped from.
absolutely, Judge. And what's so ironic about it is he is going to be tried in a Tennessee court. Now, if he had been tried in a New York court, they probably would have tried to release him. But in Tennessee, and you can have some influence on them making sure that justice is served. And then after he has served his time here, he could be sent back to where he came from.
Well, according to the allegations, there are serious felony crimes that occurred in a number of states: New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, etc. You name it. So he could be snatched back a number of places.
Well, we want
By
him.
the way, did you read what I sent you about Title 8, Section 1324?
I have not received anything from you, so I'll have to go back and look for it, okay?
Okay, I'll resend it to you. But it reads very interestingly. It says anyone who aids, abets, advises, counsels, procures, attempts to assist, gives shelter, even if in a government building, even if at some later time someone were to whatever, it does not count. You're still chargeable with a felony.
Good, good. Gilmore Garcia needs to go back to his home. And what he has done is expose the corruption in the Democrat Party and expose how their priorities are not about justice, not about the American people, but it's about protecting their potential future voters, whether the people have, whether they have been in trouble or not.
They're trying to gain new voters. But the
Yes.
point is let's not send him back, since they want be. This is a classic example of be careful what you ask for. You
Yes.
get it. So now the individual has been returned under extradition agreements between two countries to be prosecuted. And he looks to be getting a lot of time if he gets convicted.
Well, that's good. Good for him. Good on him. I have another question. We have a mutual friend, Elon Musk, and I'm proud to say that he has actually come out and apologized and stated that he said some things that he regrets. He didn't say exactly what those things were that he regrets, but President Trump has arbitrarily accepted his apology. So I think that relationship is going to be stable again, because with that division, it divided our party. It divided the support that we have throughout the nation in terms of MAGA as well as Republican. Do you have any comments to say about that relationship or about Elon Musk and what he did?
If you have an advisor, he's not much good to you if all he is a yes man or a yes woman. You expect disagreement. And if you get in some of these meetings,
Wow.
raised and people yell at each other and there are disagreements. And as a political tactic, it helps every now and then if somebody on your side disagrees with you, so you can't say it's a yes man. He will disagree when he thinks it's ill-advised. Now, some of what Musk is complaining about or complained about didn't have anything to do with Trump. It had to do with the GOP. And
you got fans out there, Judge.
he was basically saying, we're trying to clean up the government and cut waste and save the taxpayers money and streamline things. So we have to make some cuts but it doesn't work if you turn around and substitute some more what we call in the business pork for pork that's already cut out. Now, I'll give you an example. Personally, way back, and it's been more than 50 years ago, I was in Washington, D.C., working for a D.C. think tank as an intern. So I decided to be enterprising, and I went over and I got a job with a federal agency. Well, when the internship was over, I said,
Okay, Judge got a phone call, so we will continue, guys.
hello?
Oh, he's back.
Oh, God.
He's back. He's a popular guy, guys. Everybody loves the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. And people are calling him.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
Judge.
I've got it on Do Not Disturb, but for some reason people ignore that. They just have this urgency. But back to my story. This is more than 50 years ago. So I went over and I turned in my. Hello?
I'm here.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. 50 years ago, you turned in your resignation when you were working for a federal. Are you there? Okay, we're gonna go to a quick. We're going to bring in the judge's ad again, just in case you guys
Can you
missed
hear
it.
me?
I can hear you.
I'm
I
gonna
can hear
duck
you
out
now.
and come right back in.
Okay, I'll run your ad while you're away. Well, I thought I was going to be able to bring up his ad, but apparently not. So anyway, what we got going on here, guys. Judge will be back. Carol, thank you for joining us today. You know, I was going to ask Judge, and I'll ask him this when he comes back. There was a WREG Channel 3 reporter who was a victim of armed carjacking in South Memphis at a gas station.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. I was about to discuss this situation concerning the carjacking that occurred in Memphis.
I thought that was amusing, by the way. But the last part of the story, I
Okay.
walked over to resign from this federal position.
Okay.
The director, oh my God, no, please don't do that. I said, what do you mean? I got to go back to Los Angeles. He said, don't do that. That'll ruin our whole budget situation. Just give me your forwarding address and I'll send you your paycheck. I said, but I won't be here. That's all right. So anyway, for the next 3 years, I received a paycheck from the U.S. government and hadn't shown up a day for work. So this is the kind of waste that goes on. I did feel guilty about it, and I would submit reports from time to time. But this is the kind of thing, the kind of waste that goes on in the U.S. government. They've got a lot of that where you get told, don't cut this off, don't report this because it may mess up a financial situation. I
Yeah.
worked for the feds again with EEOC, and they had me working 2 pay grades above my position because I was an attorney and I could do stuff that their GS-14s could not do. And we had 25 people in our unit, and about 6 people did all of the work. 3 or 4 of them stayed drunk most of the time. And the other ones would be goofing off doing crossword puzzles and on the phone talking to their friend girls or boyfriends or whatever it might be. So it is what it is. And that kind of waste needs to be cut out.
Sorry. Well, Judge, I just wanted to, as we move on to the last topic that I have about the REG reporter who was a victim of the armed carjacking in South Memphis. That's locally, that's Memphis. They have found the suspect. His
That's
name
good.
is, huh?
Memphis has a pretty good set of detectives.
When they want to be. The suspect has been identified as 43-year-old Lasanjay Rayford. He was arrested and charged with carjacking and possession of a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony. Now, he embarrassed this guy. What does it say about Memphis when even the reporters are not off limit to crime?
Well, maybe it's partially the reporter's fault since they've been endorsing this nonsense coming from this group of incompetents, Young, Davis, etc., Strickland. We've got this other situation with Harris, the county mayor, where it's just completely out of control and they're trying to lie to us and say everything's all right because they have their own vested little pork interests that get promoted by this being a crime-free city. So they're trying to cut back on accurate reporting of the crime. And the news media has been going along with this. So maybe one of them needs a wake-up call, a little stimulus so that they can accurately report and say, this is what the citizens of this area have to put up with.
Wow. Judge, there are some new people who have joined our show. So I'm going to show them your ad again. I'm going to show them your ad again about your barbecue because the 4th of July is coming up and they need to be prepared.
Introducing Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor. With one taste of our premium blends of all-natural ingredients, herbs, and spices, you'll fall in love with meat all over again. Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce collection is made up of 2 zesty flavors, original and spicy. There's only one way to bring order back to barbecuing. Just add Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce and seasoning, and you be the judge.
I can't wait for the 4th of July because I'm going to order my barbecue sauce from Judge Joe Brown's website, and you order yours from Judge Joe Brown's website. And I'll tell you what, your friends and your neighbors, whoever you invite over to your cookout, they're going to thank you.
It's really tasty stuff. I think it's the best stuff you can buy on a shelf anywhere. Frankly, that's what the reports are coming back saying. So get your queue together for the summer. It's about to hit heavy.
That's right. And it's coming up sooner than you realize. So, Judge, I want to thank you for taking time out to come and joining us today. My audience is excited about you. And I'll tell you what, I'm thinking I want to interview you again for an interview solely about Elon Musk, and I want to send it to him. He has been responsive to my communications with him, but I want him to know you, and I want him to see you in action. Since we didn't get started on time, I'm not sure that this one is ready to be sent to Elon, but certainly I want to interview you again. Is that okay?
That's fine. I've been under the weather for the last couple of weeks. A tick problem. Right here in Memphis, they don't spray for mosquitoes anymore. Or in Shelby County, which we used to be famous for to keep down yellow fever. Treating an area for mosquitoes also keeps down the ticks. We have allowed some problems to go on with the developers so that they are displacing a lot of deer. The deer are bedding down in people's backyards and they're leaving deer ticks. And deer ticks are spreading certain new tick-borne diseases from East Tennessee, and it's spreading west, and now it's getting to this area. So that's one of our problems with local corruption. The money's being taken for special programs. It's not being retained for the use of the people. And speaking of Mr. Musk, he apparently sees the location of Memphis geographically as being the indication that it is where it is as distribution center for North America because of the geography. That would make it ideal for some other things with the Mississippi River and a great deal of hydroelectric power. to make this the new Silicon Valley for the 21st century. We're already 1/4 of the way through the thing, and Memphis is still immersed in poverty. Our government, our incompetent leadership does not know what it's doing on either the federal, state, or local levels. It misses many opportunities, and apparently, if it does not result in something in their own back pockets, they are not interested, in spite of the concern of their citizens. So we could have this industry involving the manufacture of the most advanced AI computers sets in the world right here in Memphis, which moves us to the forefront of technology, which means all sorts of industry comes in here, which means jobs are created that are high paying jobs, which means that money can be funneled into the educational system. And when you get money to offset small money, what happens is you tend to get more honesty. So we have great benefits to accrue to us, but we are blocking them. For instance, the problem started off with this plant because the city of Memphis ill-advisedly gave 85,000 square feet to an electronics firm that just exploited it for the money and bailed on us. Now Musk is taking that over and is pledged to donate an $87 million water treatment plant to restore some of the decrepit infrastructure of Memphis like gas and water. But we aren't interested in that. And our useless NAACP and their little group of clown affiliates, they're trying to attack what Musk is doing under environmental considerations, which they can't prove, have
And
no
they are
evidence.
scaring the people. They're scaring the people
Yes,
into
because
their lives.
they aren't getting bribed. So I think we need to have another sting right here in Memphis and put some more crooks in jail, like we had with, what was it, Tennessee Waltz about 20 years ago. We need a
Absolutely.
Memphis boogie.
Judge, that's a good one. I think I don't know if you read many of the comments, but there are people that are really appreciative of what you're doing, exposing the truth, straight talk. And we're going to have you back on to elaborate more, because the more we expose this corruption, the more the people cannot continue to not see it. And the more that the leadership can not pretend to correct it when we know it's not being corrected. And they don't know that you know as much as you do. And I want to give you an opportunity to share that with people.
And by the way, why did Memphis hire its first civil service chief in 41 years and pick somebody that was fired and under investigation for sex offenses in Atlanta, also under the same sort of cloud in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina? And instead of just bringing the person in as a director of police subject to hiring and firing at the whim of the mayor, make that individual the first civil service chief in 41 years who now gets paid as much as the Tennessee governor gets paid. And for what? Incompetent administration of the police department here, ineptitude, where everything has to be delegated because the person in question doesn't know how to handle what's going on in this area.
You're
What's the
talking about
matter with us?
you're talking about CJ Davis, correct?
Exactly. There's no earthly reason for her to be the civil service chief of Memphis, Tennessee. At best, she should have been made a contingent director of police who can be fired, fired at pleasure. But now you can't do it. You have to have cause. And the police department just has flat morale. There is insufficient command authority and backup. The training is suffering, though we do have some great cops from top to bottom. And our detective force is outstanding. but we don't get any word on it. We don't get any backup, and we have all sorts of little conniving schemes that are going on that nobody wants to expose. And I have some for some people that I'm going to severely embarrass if they don't do what they ought to do, at least with certain issues that have almost a mandated resolution that they're trying to ignore. And the question is why? So we have from top to bottom a bunch of neophytes running stuff around here that don't need to be running anything. And our current mayor needs to answer to downtown development and why a decrepit hotel that belongs to an international hotel chain is getting financed to the extent of $220 million of tax money, and why it looks like from all of the correspondence involved, he's getting a 3.7%.
Okay, Judge has left us again.
Oh,
I
wow.
want to
Here we
ask
go
Judge, do you
again.
think this guy will be a one-term mayor?
All right.
Judge, do you think he will be a one-term mayor? Are you back, Judge? Okay. Okay. Well, listen. Thank you, Judge, for being with us today. I don't think you can hear me, but I do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, especially since you are under the weather as a result of the. Oh, he is definitely not there. Judge was telling too much. Okay, so we've got to have Judge back again. But guys, thank you. Go out and get some of Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce for the 4th of July and enjoy your holiday. You know, we are still in the spring part of the season. We are still in spring. And when the 4th of July arrives, it's almost like that's our unofficial summer, but summer doesn't start until the middle of the month. I think Judge is back.
Yeah,
Okay, Judge.
like I said, my do not disturb seems to be totally ignored. But here's what it is. There are a lot of questions that need to be answered and a lot of crookedness.
Well, I've got to get you back on so that we can go into details about that. And I've got to have lunch with you so that I can look at your phone and figure out why your do not disturb system application is not working. It needs to be working. Pam is asking a question, Judge. She said, do you think the FBI is really investigating Memphis? And she also said, before you dropped off, the sting that you referenced, it should be called the Memphis Shuffle.
Why not? Memphis Boogie, Memphis Shuffle.
Yes, absolutely.
Feathers need to be ruffled. Little freestyle
Being
rock.
poetic there, Judge.
I do that every now and then.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
You know,
So,
seriously, we deserve better than we get. And if we don't do something to change it, it's our fault for continuing to put up with it. From the Board of Education to City Hall to the County Commission to the City Council, there is so much just overt and egregious corruption that goes on around here. People don't get elected to serve, they get elected so they can get rich. And their salary is very small. So you ask, how can somebody get rich off of that? Through
absolutely.
the connections, the bribery, the underhanded deals. And I want to talk about the sale of the statues, uh, Nathan Bedford Forrest and Jeff Davis, and
Go
how
ahead,
much
Judge.
we paid certain individuals to store those statues, why they kept the money, but we still maintain the place. What's the connection between the corporate entity behind that and $700 million that we can't afford to convert the Liberty Bowl into a soccer arena, and rumored to be $3.5 billion to build a new football stadium. We can't even get the potholes fixed around here adequately. So we have time for this. And what about this shunt line that Memphis Light Gas and Water is wasting all of our money on to run services out to Mason, Tennessee, which they're trying to turn into Blue Oval? Now, want to hear something interesting? Blue Oval is not an American company. It's a South Korean company, and they've already made arrangements to transport 15,000 South Koreans plus their families here to Memphis. Oh, are we still here?
Oh, we are still here, yes. NSA is tracking you, Judge, and
Okay.
saying, don't say it, Judge. Please don't say it. Please don't expose us. So if you're still there and he isn't still there, we're going to go ahead and bring this show to an end. Are you there, Judge? Okay, he's not back yet. So anyway, you guys, thank you all for joining us today. I do appreciate it. And we're going to have Judge back again to join us. And hopefully I will get with him, Van Turner, Pam, Van Turner, and his NGO. You are on top of it, Van Turner. We're going to bring Judge back, and we're going to have him to talk about and expose the corruption in Memphis solely. So thank you all for joining me. You guys have a great weekend. Weather's going to be nice, and all is well. So you guys remember, enjoy enjoy the weather, enjoy the weekend, enjoy your families, and we appreciate you.